Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. I am excited to have with us today Hilary Sohn from the Healing Sanctuary. And we are going to be talking about, as it is June, men's health and wellness. So let me give a preface in terms of our discussion. Any health concerns that you may have, our session today is informational. Please do reach out to a medical professional. And we're going to continue with our topic today. And let me tell you also a little bit about Hilary and who she is and what she does. So Hilary is the owner and founder of the Healing Sanctuary and has been a massage therapist since 2002, certified in a variety of traditional and medical massage techniques. She has additional training in orthopedic assessment and treatment techniques, scar techniques, myofascial release, myofascial cupping, neuromuscular therapy, myoskeletal alignment, advanced Gua Sha, aromatherapy, craniosacral therapy, and advanced myofascial techniques. Hilary holds a BS in psychology and master's in psychoeducational processes. She is currently pursuing certification in biophilic design principles through the International Living Features Institute. She is an alumna of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program and is a member of the Exton Region Chamber of Commerce, as am I. Serves on their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council and leads their monthly women's workshop. She also serves in Kinetic Physical Therapy's Oncology Rehab Advisory Council. Her approach to body work involves taking a deep dive into client history and looking at postural patterns to discover the root of current issues. She often discovers connections between seemingly unrelated items in client backgrounds that help to solve pain or mobility issues. Her main focus is in the realm of integrative corrective massage, assisting clients to calm their nervous systems, regain range of motion, easing postural restrictions and pain, and helping the body find its balance. She has a particular love of treating complex cases and has had good success with many clients while working on their in tandem with their doctors and physical therapists. So without further ado, I am going to bring on to our show, Hilary Sohn. Hi, Hilary. How
Good
are you?
afternoon. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being our guest and for taking the time. And I think this is such a great topic, as not just for the month of June because it's men's health, but also just, talking about health and wellness in general in relationship to, it as a man or in men in general.
Yes, agreed. Very much agreed.
So I want to start off with this. My first question, but before I get there, I just want to say as an analogy, right? All of us, including us women too, we also need to check on our health, right? And my analogy is like a car, for example, right? We take our car in order to keep it running smoothly to the mechanic. We get like that annual checkup, or if you're one of those that have like, oh, my inspection is due for such and such time, now it's really going to get the check anyway because I'm going to need my inspection sticker. I got to get, all the things renewed, et cetera, et cetera. So you take it to the mechanic and they, do the inspection, they check your car over and whatnot. And, if things are going well because, you're doing the maintenance, you're doing the oil check and all these things, then you walk out of there, right, with your car running great and smoothly. On the other hand, if you're some of us that wait until, we kind of like get in the car and just drive and we forget that there's other maintenance things, for example, then we get to that point of, oh my gosh, I need now, the inspection to be done like tomorrow. We're now getting to the mechanic and now everything else is kind of like, I don't want to say the word falling apart, but now you're realizing, oh my gosh, by the way, you need your tires rotated. Oh, of course, now you need a new set of tires, or, your brake pads are so bad that we need a new one. So things start to compound because you didn't do your, preventative check. So I similarly, I say preventative screenings. I liken that to your, inspection of yourself and your annual checkup. That those are important things, from a health perspective. That you should go to an annual checkup, get your, colonoscopy screening or any other preventative screenings. That's important. Again, to keep your body in good shape. But it's not just your physical body, there's also your mental and there's also your spiritual. And I think this is where my question evolves, right? Kind of leans into this direction in that where do what aspects or key aspects of this changing landscape with men's health and wellness? And do you think the pandemic has changed that or had some kind of influence or catalyst for that change?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, I guess maybe I'm going to back it up a little bit just to give like a little bit of a background to kind of wellness overall. So, health and wellness overall. So, we've seen traditionally women have been traditionally underserved in the medical arena in healthcare, and men have been traditionally underserved in the wellness arena.
Mm,
So, what's been happening since the pandemic, and I wonder if it's just been a function of people had a little more time on their hands. They were very stressed during the pandemic. Um, did a lot of online research about different things that could help their mental health, help their well-being. I think also when you look at um, the workplace pre-pandemic, um, things were more about like work hard, play hard. I think men in general have just been in that culture of, I got to work hard. I can't show my feelings, can't be vulnerable. And then to be dialed completely all the way back during the pandemic to this place of I can work from home. I have a little bit of ease. There's, I'm with my wife and kids. Or I can like hang out with my pet and my cat's going to walk across the computer screen during a Zoom call, but there's ease. To get a taste of that and then have to wind back to the kind of the hard culture, I think was difficult for people, men
mm,
and women, but I think men in particular probably had a little bit of like like a different view into how things could be for them. So I think that kind of started to shift things. Um, we've also had this like pre-pandemic, this whole idea of like this hyper wellness culture. So everything's just been like, like fueled by the cult of productivity. So this idea that, again, work hard, play hard. So I'm gonna, do the traditionally wellness and health oriented things like exercise, but exercise to a great degree, and about muscularity and a little bit of toxic masculinity, and it spilled over even into female culture too a little bit. I think post pandemic, we have started to see a shift globally from this hyper wellness to like soft life, what feels good, and not so much even about, I think even pre-pandemic we were talking about like, oh, everything's got to be hyper clean, and you eat super clean, and everything's done to the extreme. And now you're seeing this younger generation coming in also, who are saying like, gosh, that feels like really hard to do. So I want to have like a snack that's not good for me once in a while, or I want to have like, um, I want to be able to sleep in. I want to be able to like, not go for the marathon run, but maybe just take like a soft walk in the woods at my own pace and enjoy and have ease and find wonder. So all of that has been starting to shift things over sort of that post-pandemic time frame. So we're seeing this push into like gentleness, this like against the beat yourself up culture, which has been traditionally the masculine culture, and now we're starting to see things shift into like helping people recover and relax and have ease. So the being versus doing. Um,
Mm.
and so we started to see this rise in like things like um, infrared therapies, infrared light, infrared saunas, where you could just like be, like you're not actually, like lifting a weight or, going for a run. It's just you get to sit and just be. Hyperbaric oxygen chamber is another one. Experiences versus like the same old workout. So even when we were seeing like technology starting to come forward with like Peloton and like you could have this experience of like hiking up the mountain, like it was not just the same old like you're on the treadmill. You actually were able to have an experience with other people. And so when we came into 2023, what we were still seeing, even like a year post pandemic, was loneliness was like this big thing
Mhm.
for people, and that
Mhm.
um, people needed reconnection. And that has not typically been like a guy thing in the past, So I think women, just by our natures, tend to be a little bit more connecting, collaborating, relational, and we like to talk. And guys are like, we like to do. Um, so what we're starting to also see a rise in is this idea of like social wellness. So wellness
Mm.
clubs and experiences where people can come together and do wellness and health related things in like a communal environment. Um, so things like hot and cold like hydrotherapies are starting to really take hold, and that's in a group setting. You can take
Mhm.
like your whole team and go hang out in like hot and cold tubs. Um, compression, compression therapies, like in a group setting. So there's like health related things, but like more of a social connection kind of thing. So as all this is going on, our political environment was also going through this like polarity shift. And we were also seeing this polarity shift happening within health and wellness. So there's like
Mm.
this emergence of these two like wellness industries. One is like the hard care side, which is sort of like the longevity, how not to die related side of
Mm.
things. So like medicine, drugs, um, quick fixes, like push your body to the extreme. You want to live long, and this was like the traditionally masculine model. And I'm not saying like just men. I'm just saying traditionally masculine.
Understood.
On the other side of things, it's just like this more soft care side. So more like related to like how to live, not how to die, but how to live. And that we're looking at things like what feels good. There was a phenomenon for a while called bed rotting, like you could stay in bed all day. That was, like almost like a pushback against this whole idea of like hard, hard care. Things like how to live well, sleep became like sleep and rest became like a big thing. Um so so these things kind of like all coming out started to like shift the focus for men, because they were experiencing all of this at the same time too, and going like, well, hey, like I think I need rest, I need sleep, I need care, but I don't know quite how to ask for that or get that or what's out there for me, because it seemed like all the soft care things were sort of geared towards females. So then, here comes 2024, and more and more things happening in like DEI and also this idea of like these blurred gender roles are starting to happen now, especially like kind of during and then after the pandemic. So these blurred gender roles and also blurred um, gender identity also is starting to kind of also have men not really know like where what the traditional models are anymore and like where do I get this care, how am I as a man, how do I present myself as a man. So this is like this whole everything that's kind of informing where um, where men's wellness is starting to head. So like you are starting to see things like social and emotional wellness starting to come to the forefront. Mental health has been, since the pandemic, like this big, big thing that just needs to be addressed in everybody. Um, and it's not a typical thing that men, I think, tend to gravitate towards. They're usually kind of pushed there by their wives or significant others. Um, there's also this, like, I'll give you an example. In the realm of loneliness, if you were to ask men kind of back in 1990, like how many of them would, if they were having like an issue, you know, like an emotional issue or a mental issue, how many of them would actually turn to their friend groups? And it's about 45% at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sorry?
No, that's interesting. Keep going.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, and that 45%, like that even is kind of low, right?
Right.
Now it went down to 22% of men would actually call on their friends to help them. So there's this sense of loneliness and kind of this idea that they don't know really where to turn and what's out there for them. So um, I think the wellness industry and I think healthcare need to like address this deficit for men.
So is
So
as I'm listening to what you were saying, is there a marrying or an integration of these, new shifting and nuances? As I'm listening to you, and I don't think, and I agree with you. I think that there, post pandemically, I think all of us have, been changed. I don't think that any one of us could really say that we are the same as we were pre-pandemically.
yeah,
Definitely, the shift in highlight of mental health, and mental health has been here for a while. I do think that the importance of that has been uh, fast forwarded, if you will,
yeah.
in being highlighted and continuing to be addressed. Do you see that, the marrying or the integration, and could that be another avenue to help address the loneliness for men, and continue to shift towards community, because I do think there's benefit in community, and not just for women, and I think it's for all, but to have a male community, in the sense of not only for just bonding or partnership or anything like that, but just a resource. It's like a place that you can go to. And let me go back to my question though. Do you see an integration between medicine and holistic, in,
Yes.
in being able to move that forward for a man who wants to incorporate both health and wellness?
Yeah, definitely from both sides, actually. So, both from the medical side and from the wellness side, we're seeing kind of this trying to meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I have a doc friend who is an integrative physician of sorts. So,
Mm-hmm.
he has both a medical background, but he's also working more on like mindfulness, sleep. meditation, those become very important things for him and how he deals with his patients. And, we often talk about that. And so that's one end of things. On the wellness side, I think we're starting to see more clinical evidence come into play and more knowing how to talk to the medical side of things. My center in particular, we like to have the evidence, know what we're dealing with clinically, so that we can take that to physicians or PTs and say, this also works. It's not just this; it can be this too. And many of us are working together, which is really nice. There are things for men in particular that are starting to pop up that kind of combine a little bit of like the hard care and the soft care side. So like things uh, men's only retreats that kind of,
Mhm.
they get to be out in nature, and maybe it's like surfing and breath work and meditation all combined, so you get a little bit of each, and it's a way for men to bond and learn new ways of being in the world, new things that can help them stress relieve, help them self nurture, and also get the connection that they need.
I'm planting the seed now because I think we can talk about a myriad of things here. So
Sure.
it, I would like to say if we can at some point in time, because this is going to be a topic that is consistently out there, physician burnout, right? And so I invite you back to talk about that specifically. I do think that, and it's not just physician burnout, but even also just healthcare workers in general, that are feeling that burnout. And what are some of the things that we can, as we're talking about that merging of, the health and wellness space, that we can certainly expand on that. So I'm planting that seed. I'm hoping that Hilary will come back and we'll talk about that topic a little bit more. Um, me as a male, for example, I am now aware of kind of what is happening with me. I realize I need to, you know, uh, beef up or boost up my wellness side. And I want to take the steps. And what should be, my foray into that space of, wellness, and say I don't know anything about it, or if I did, I know, very little. So what would be, my first steps into taking that softer side of and getting into a wellness routine or regime, taking care of myself, and and really building that up. What should I be doing?
Well, I think there's a couple things. So one is, I think the older generation of men are kind of the holdouts for the traditionally
Sure.
softer care things. I think to take a cue from the younger generation is a really good thing, because I think that they tend to take care of themselves in a different way. And so to kind of take a cue from them, that's a good place to start. I think just looking at what's out there in terms of wellness centers, and look at different therapies that maybe you wouldn't even consider, or different types of things you wouldn't consider. Um, for instance, energy healing or Reiki has been an interesting thing for us, because pre-pandemic, it was like pulling teeth to get men to come in for any kind of energy healing. They were like, I don't know what that is, like, keep that away from me. My wife could do that. And so we've seen some women had brought their husbands in, and actually they were really like surprised at how good they felt after they had a Reiki session. We, post pandemic, without even trying, started to see more and more and more men coming in for energy healing, just to have that sense of rest and relaxation, that self care in a very soft way. And And they're regulars. It's not a once and done thing. They are coming back on a really regular basis. So that's been surprising. So, something like Reiki, I would say coming up for us in the end of June, June 25th, we're having a grounding sound bath for men. So men only. Mhm. It's June 25th, a Tuesday, 6:30 to 7:30, and it's really going to be a space not only to experience sound healing, and we do have many men who come for sound bath sessions. No water involved; it's just sound. um, so, but we are going to combine a little bit of the sound bath experience with a little bit of like talk about what it is to ground yourself as a man, what it is to self care, self nurture, and to start the discussion a little bit among men, because I think that there's a different experience of the world for sure, as a man, and I think there's got to be a re-navigation of, of the field of wellness, of health for men. And I think also our fields, healthcare and wellness, um, really need to do a better job at giving men some things that are going to cater to them in a softer way. Give them some options in a softer way.
I'm going to go back interestingly for that a little bit earlier in what you said about longevity and lifespan. And I
Yep.
think it's interesting in that frame shift, right? We all know, what longevity, looks like, but in terms of lifespan, I consider that more that word in the frame of a lifestyle change in the sense that you're expanding your lifespan, but yet there's also a carryover on longevity because it's tagging along, as you continue to take care of yourself, and as we continue to see living longer. It's amazing to see some of the centenarians and some of even the centenarians that don't look like centenarians, and they're very active, and it's truly amazing in terms of their capabilities. But I just those two words and the frame shift in the mind. And you mentioned that is interesting. You said is it more towards younger generation that you're seeing versus, like you said, the older generation might be a little tough to gear towards that. But is there a possibility that even with that, as tough as that may be, that someone could be open-minded amongst that group that would also lean to the wellness space? Do
Yeah,
you
I
see?
mean, and I'm gonna just caveat what you said. It's really lifespan, longevity versus health span. So
Okay, great.
those are the
Thank
two terms. Yeah, and
you.
so what's the point of living a long time if you're gonna not feel great in any capacity? Never mind physical, but what if just emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're not feeling in a great place? What's the point? So
Right.
I think to pay attention to this other side, the health, full health, not just physical health, but mental, emotional, and spiritual health really makes a difference. And when you look at these centenarians and people who live really long lives, they're not doing the hardcore stuff. They're really living a pretty soft life, a life that pays attention to kind of the full gamut of the self.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the older generations for sure have the ability to do that. And I think where we see some holdouts is like the middle middle generations. I think the very young have like a new approach to things and have a new sense of themselves in general. And I think the very older generations are kind of like, I can't do all that hard stuff anymore. I need ease, and I need something that's going to work with my body right now and my life right now. So yeah, I mean, there's hope for everyone.
So potentially there is that shift, right? We could
Sure.
potentially see the
Yeah.
holdouts could potentially certainly lean towards that.
I think the thing to do is just take a step, one step in that direction and just try it. Have a new experience. If you don't like it, try something else.
And that's where I was trying to go. I said, I think we could just at least try dip the toe.
Dip
And
the
if I
toe.
were to dip the toe, would you recommend like massage or like as a, sort of like my, it's my time, it's my quiet time. I'm going to, get the massage and just seeing how I feel
So
thereafter. Is that a good
typically,
start?
typically how we've seen men make the foray into the world of wellness has been through massage, because it's usually, I got an injury, can you fix it? And then they come in and we work on the area of injury, or something that's just hurting, and they're experiencing this sense of ease and being, and a quiet space for them, a little bit of nurturing, and then all of a sudden it becomes, well, maybe I don't have to actually have the excuse of an injury or something wrong with me to come in. I can just come here and just be, just have somebody care for me. So that has been kind of the easy dip the toe in, because it's still like, oh well, I got something wrong, and I just need it to be fixed.
Understood. So we've got a lot of nuggets, but before so we're going to close shortly. I just want to make sure that everybody can reach you.
Yep.
I hope you will consider another invitation, because I think that that topic of burnout is definitely something that we can. It's still a hot topic, even post pandemically,
Would
and
love to.
or we
Yeah.
call ourselves endemically. So, what's the best way to reach you? Please you give us your information.
Sure. So our phone number at the office is 484-872-8217. And our website is www.healingsanctuaryexton.com. And if you check out the classes page, you'll find the grounding sound bath for men. If you'd like to attend, that may be your dip the toe in session.
Great. Well, at the end of this session, once we close, I'm going to pop your information in the comments just to make sure that, if anyone wants to reach you, that they can. Thank you so much, Hilary, for today. I so appreciate this conversation. I hope that, for all our audience who are listening and tuning in, that this gives them an opportunity to explore other areas that into the health and wellness. And as we say, dip their toe, even for just a quick massage, whether injury or not, just something that they can be in a place where they
Yep.
feel, a sense of grounding.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Sharon. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone.